Guys, we're going to be working on our next unit, COVID-19 Special Edition. I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'll have it with a PowerPoint and we'll have it in smaller slide presentations so it's a little bit easier to follow. So this first edition or this first segment is an introduction to what we'll be looking at. So we have our workbook right here, our COVID-19 Special Edition. We're going to be looking at two units. We're going to be looking at hockey stick, okay? And we're going to be looking at Unit 2, flattening the curve, okay? And this is in reference to some slides. So this is a PowerPoint that was put together on a special edition of CORE. And what I'm going to do now is go to this link where it says PowerPoint Lecture. Okay, and when I click on that, it'll open up this, my CORE COVID-19 collection. And this is a dynamic document that continues to grow as more and more professors are adding their classroom activities and lectures about COVID-19 in their online learning environment. The specific ones that we're working on are right here. Okay, the economics of pandemics, and they're lecture slides by Rajiv Sethi, okay, from Barnard College. And this is what we'll be working on for our unit. Okay, I also have this downloaded and included in the unit, so it's very easy for you to see. Okay, and we'll take a quick look at what is in this lecture. Okay, so we're going to be learning about the economics of pandemics. So COVID-19 is one type of pandemic. What other pandemics can you think of that we've studied or talked about? Correct, right? So the plague was definitely a pandemic. The Spanish flu was a pandemic, even Asian flu. So we've had many types of pandemics in our life, during the timeline of humankind. Okay, and here we have another pandemic, COVID-19. And what makes something a pandemic is the fact that it's shared on a global level. It's not so isolated as a local event. It's something that affects all of humanity. So in this PowerPoint, we're going to be looking at COVID-19 as a hockey stick, right? Is it another hockey stick? And looking at externalities and social preferences and global supply chains and what all of these different things mean, and thinking about it as an economist, okay? We're going to be using certain concepts, okay, that we might have already visited in some of the other units that we've examined. Okay, and we're going to learn how to make sense out of the different data that's coming out of world models. Okay, so I'm just flipping through the PowerPoint so you have an idea of what's coming up, what we'll be working on. Okay, and you'll see a lot of these models are also in your workbook as we start looking at them in more detail. Okay, and we're going to be looking at different ways we can be understanding the modeling, what it's actually showing us, and what really impacts the models. Okay, how can you flatten the curve? What does that mean for our own economic development? Okay, and that's really where we're going to be ending with what we're doing. We're going to end with the social preferences. This economist goes on to teach about supply and demand, and how we can understand that with the coronavirus. And what we'll do is once we get through this to week 14, I'm keeping this a little bit open. We can go deeper into the pandemic and maybe hit supply and demand, or maybe at that point you want some extra time to work on your final project. I figured I'd leave that opened. And asset prices, this is something that we wouldn't do. This is a little bit more advanced economics, where we're looking at the stock market and how does COVID-19 affect that. And this last part goes a little bit more into local governments and government interactions that can happen and some scale effects. Again, it's a little bit more advanced in its economics, so I was going to leave that out. If we had had more time this semester, we definitely would have gone a little bit more deeper into this. But I think just by going up to slide number 19 is going to be really good for us. It's going to give us a chance to apply some of our economics concepts and be able to engage more cohesively in what's happening in today's world and interpret data and have discussions about what's happening in our world. Okay, so that's the introduction to the slideshow. Here we're going to look at the workbook. So again, we're going to be looking at Unit 1. Okay, and I'll have a video for Unit 1 coming up. This is our overview video, and then we'll be looking at Unit 2. Okay, so welcome aboard. I look forward to us going deeper into this, and you'll see within the units we have different places that we can be going and interacting with current data. So in my next slide, we're going to go take a look at that. So welcome, thank you, and click on the next slide for Unit 1. Bye-bye.